This rice water you see right here has been fermenting for just about 180 days. You heard that right. Doesn't it look weird? Trust me, it is one of the most amazing things that has ever happened. This happened by accident. And if you want to see what happens when you've been fermenting rice water for this long, keep watching. So right now I'm going to put this into a spray bottle so that I can put it into my hair. And I'm just using this little cup because it's just way easier for me to pour on camera. Otherwise, it would have been much easier than this. I am straining it through a sieve just in case there was anything, but there was actually no residue left over. And this is extremely intense, extremely potent rice water. So you only need to fill the bottle halfway, and then I'm filling the rest up with distilled water from the kettle. It is slightly warm. This mixture was quite cold from the fridge, so I wanted it to be around room temperature, and that is done. That's literally the mixture we are using. When I sprayed it into my hair, this was just me like combing it after, but as you watch the video you see how we came to this point, so let's get to it. So as you could see, that was my super intense fermented rice water, and you saw what my hair looked like. But today I decided to wear a wig because my hair is in a protective style, which is what I did and what I usually do after using rice water. As you can see, I have a little tiara. I thought this hair made me look like a princess, so I was like, let's go all out, let's be dramatic, and let's do the full thing. I'm the queen of rice water today. So if you are new to this channel, my name is Angelica. I post videos all about growing long, healthy, natural hair twice a week, every single week on Wednesdays and Sundays. So if that seems like something you might be interested in, consider subscribing. The subscription button is right down there, as well as the bell icon. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications every single time I post. Without further ado, let's get straight into this video. So yes, I fermented this rice water for 5 to 6 months. I'm saying 5 to 6 because I don't know the exact date when I made it. I don't remember, but it is almost 6 months. I was literally amazed because I thought, like, obviously, it's just common sense. The rice water will be bad by now. But no, it is not. All it did was get super intense, and it's like the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. But don't worry, you don't have to be like, are you telling me I have to wait until July to use the rice water? No, no, no. There are ways around it. So first, I'm going to show you exactly how I made it the first time. In case you missed the first video, I do have a video making this exact same batch of rice water, but I will include it in here so you know specifically which one it is, because I do have a lot of rice water videos. So let's go a little bit into the demo of how to make the rice water, then we get into the details. So we are starting with 1.5 cups of rice. This is plain rice from my aunt's farm. Actually, it is just Zambian rice. Just rinse the rice water, and you can see there's just little like dirt and particles coming out. As you can see, this is not like packaged rice. And now I'm getting this warm water. You don't want boiling water. And I'm using this cup, and I'm putting about 8.5 cups of water. And now it is time to add the secret ingredient of the Yao women. They use a pomelo fruit. Now, pomelo fruit is not accessible here, and it's not a common fruit. So the closest thing to pomelo fruit is not actually oranges, it's actually a grapefruit. So I stored that in a dark cupboard, and this is the result 5 days later. You can see that it looks very bubbly and stuff. Those bubbles coming up just show how fermented it is. You want to keep massaging and kneading the rice literally for a full 5 minutes or more. If you've never tried this, I suggest you try this. You don't need to boil the water to get to this point. So if you don't know who the Yao women are, the Yao women are from an ancient village in, I mean, it's not that ancient, the people are still there, but you know, it's been an ancient village in China, and they have the longest hair in the world. They're the most women with the longest hair in the world in that village, and they are in the Guinness Book of Records. Everybody has 2 meters to more, or about 6 feet of hair and more. They have extremely dark hair. I'll show a picture here on the screen of a really old woman. I don't know how old she is, but people who are up to like 70 years old still have completely black hair, no trace of white. I have never even seen someone with white hair, but I'm guessing they only start going gray probably after like 75, and they start to get a few strands of gray hair, and they attribute all this to the rice water. Now, I will say, because they are in a village with minimal technology, they don't have lots of industries and polluted air. They wash their hair in a river. That also contributes to their hair being so amazing. And I do have a video that I'll link in the eye right here, where I talked about all the other things that benefit the Yao women to get such amazing hair. But they do say the number one thing is rice water, and that is why I'm saying They know exactly what they're doing. And speaking of them knowing exactly what they're doing, I will address something that I get asked every single time I do a rice water video referencing the Yao women. And this is, why don't you boil your rice water? Meaning me, Angie. Why don't I boil my rice water? And there is one main reason. The main reason why I don't boil my rice water is because, in my own scientific understanding, boiling water denatures a bunch of the proteins that could easily just come out of the rice without me cooking it. Denatured equals destroying some of the nutrients. It's just like heating oil in a microwave. Sure, some people, maybe ancient people from India and all this stuff, have been using oils and stuff that they boil and it works fine. But you do have to put in a little bit of common sense and also adapting things to work for you. For example, my hair is extremely curly, it is thick, it is coarse. The Yao women have extremely shiny, extremely straight hair. So if I use the rice water exactly how they use it in their hair, in my hair, I probably won't get the exact same results. So I do have to alter it to make it fit better for my exact hair type. And as I continue altering it, even them, they say that every Yao household have their own like secret thing that they do to the rice water that's slightly different from the rest of them. So this is my secret thing. If you would like to boil the rice water, of course you could go ahead and do that exactly how the Yao women do it, but I prefer not to. And speaking of the vitamins that these have, it has over 18 amino acids. It has inositol, but when it's fermented, the more potent it becomes. So just imagine, the longer you ferment the rice water, the more potent it becomes. Of course, if it goes bad, then there's no point in using it. It's just destroyed, and all the bad ingredients just go to waste. But if you do it properly the way I'm telling you, you'll get so much more benefits. And I can give the perfect example from skincare like SK2, which uses fermented pitera, which is just like fermented yeast. It's basically the same thing as the fermented rice water. And then there's also a brand called Amore. Is it Amore or Amore Pacific? They have this green tea essence for your skin, and they ferment their green tea specifically for 101 days. Like it ferments for 100 days, and then they have the one day where they do, I'm not sure what it is, but they do something special to it that just boosts it. And it's like one of the most amazing things. I have never personally used it, but I have used things that are similar to it, and I know that the fermentation process just does so much. And on top of that, it breaks down so many of the amino acids even more, which makes it much easier to penetrate your hair shaft. And a hair example I can give with that is egg. A lot of people like to use egg protein, and sure, it might help strengthen your hair a little bit, but egg in its natural form, the molecules are just too large for the proteins to go into your hair and actually affect the strength of your hair. But if you use something that has hydrolyzed egg protein, where they actually break the protein down so that it's easy enough for it to be absorbed into your hair, this is a wig, but you know my hair is under there. Anyway, so it can go into your hair. Then you see so much better uptake of the proteins into your hair. Your hair starts to feel stronger and it works much better. I would say it's the same thing for the rice water. As it continues to ferment and break down, it just absorbs so much easier into your hair. And if you have low porosity hair, this will be a game changer for you. Okay, so now that you know how to make it, let's get into all the steps. The first thing is how to ensure that your rice water doesn't go bad. This is the number one thing, because you just have wasted your time and your rice water if it goes bad. So the first thing you need to do is, one, put it in a glass jar. Plastic is just not advised because mixing with the whole fermentation process and plastic is just not advisable. You could put it in something metal, but I just feel like the temperature of metal just, I don't know, it just doesn't do it right. Glass or clay, the Yao women use clay, but the reason I'm not recommending clay is because I personally have never found anything clay that closes completely airtight. If you do have something made out of clay that's completely airtight, you can use that because that's actually what the Yao women use. But the closest thing you can get to that, I think, is glass. So use a glass container, and then on to the next thing, you need an airtight lid. Now here I'm going to show a really disgusting clip of some rice water that I made. I used black rice and I put it in like a coffee container, and it feels like it does close tight, but it's not airtight. And within 2 weeks, I think, it was moldy and disgusting, and it was like green and white and slimy, and it was the worst thing ever.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
This rice, however, is amazing. no matter how long you leave it. Literally, it's just amazing. It does not mold. It doesn't smell bad. It literally just smells like the same grapefruity, like citrusy kind of smell mixed with mint. Because if you make your rice water like me, I always put peppermint oil in it. And it just smells like that. Literally, it doesn't smell any better or worse than rice water that has been fermented like anywhere from 5 days to 2 weeks. And now let's talk about exactly how to ferment the rice water. So you've made your rice water just like the recipe that I've shown you. You have put it in an airtight glass container and you're like, okay, now how exactly do I ferment it? What do I do to make sure it doesn't go bad and actually ferments accurately? There are two ways to go about it. The first way is if you're going to be as extra as me and ferment your rice water for almost 6 months, here's what you're going to do. Because I actually did this by accident. I did not say, let me ferment it for 6 months and see what happens. It's just that I made a huge batch of rice water and I kept it for so long. And as I was using it, I kept thinking, still smells fine, so it's still usable. And I don't use too much at once because I don't pour it in, I spray it in. So I discovered, you know what, this rice water is actually getting better and better the more it ferments. So here's the first thing I would say: make a huge batch so that you can ferment it for 5 days in a dark cupboard, and then you can start using it. So just use a little bit, put it back, close it airtight, put it back in the cupboard for 2 weeks. And then you can smell it after 2 weeks. If it smells completely fine and it looks nice and fermented, I would say go the Yao Women route and leave it in a cupboard for 2 months. Now, during that 2 months, if you use rice water once to twice a month like me, you will open it quickly, get a little bit out, put it back in the cupboard, and leave it there until 2 months pass. If it is in the cupboard for 2 months, that will be almost exactly the same as my fermented rice water that has been fermenting for 6 months. Now, the reason is after I fermented my rice water for 6 to 7 weeks in the cupboard, I went ahead and put it in the fridge. Now, putting your rice water in the fridge will not completely stop the fermentation, but it will slow it down extremely, and that's why it doesn't go bad when it goes in the fridge. So after 6 to 8 weeks, I did go ahead and put my rice water in the fridge, and then that's where it has been fermenting for the past, what, 5 or 6 months? My crown is falling. That's where my rice water has been fermenting for the past 5 or 6 months. So I guess I would say for the past 4 months then. I guess it's been fermenting in the fridge for about 4 months. So because that extremely slowed it down, if you go ahead and do this in the cupboard, provided you don't live in extremely high temperatures, then yeah, it's not gonna go bad. If you live in like unbelievably, ridiculously high temperatures, there's a chance it might go bad. But just so you know, where I live in Zambia, it is extremely hot most of the time, and our high temperatures go up to 37, 38 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. And then the opposite as well. If you live in an extremely cold climate, probably you never have to put your rice water in the fridge. Just leave it in the cupboard for the whole 6 months. And every time you want to use it, just use it from there. And by the time you get to the end of it, like the last little bit that's super fermented, you will be amazed. The only change I saw is that it got slightly darker. It does not smell any worse. It feels more like a conditioner. It gets a little bit thicker. Guys, if you have not tried this and you want to try it, first of all, if you've never tried fermented rice water, I'm not talking about the overnight one, which is what I used to use most of the time. I would ferment it for 24 to 48 hours and I would be like, this is perfect. Until I tried fermenting the rice water for 5 days, I was like, this makes a huge difference. Then I said, you know what? The Yao women fermented for anywhere from 2 weeks to a couple months. They don't really specify. They just say a couple months, like 2 to maybe 4 months. I don't know. And I was like, well, let's see if we can push it a little longer without going bad. Then I fermented it for 2 weeks, and I was like, I like this better. Let's see if we can go a little more. I went ahead and fermented it a little more, went up to 6 weeks, and the 6 week one was like the best I have ever used. But this one is giving it a run for its money. So if you want to try it out, please don't feel lazy. It literally takes you making it one time and you leaving it, and every time you use it, it's going to be a little better, a little better, a little better. I guarantee. And you see so much hair growth, and softness and less breakage. And the number one thing I always get from rice water is much less shedding. So your hair will shed much less, leading to thicker hair, more hairs on your head. Your hair looks luscious, it looks shiny. Let's get into the next tip. Before you leave, there's still a little bit more. Of course, I'm not going to leave this video without actually showing you how I use the rice water. So let's get into the application now. I'm going to show you exactly how I used it in my hair before I did this to my hair, and you will see how amazing it is. Okay, so this is the exact same rice water that you saw me decanting into this bottle at the beginning. I always shake up my rice water before using it just in case certain bits have settled or anything like that. Now, I did go ahead and wash my hair in twists as I usually do, so it was already in those sections. So at the back, I have 4 little twists, and I'll be doing each side by itself. So what I'm doing is not undoing the twists. I'm starting by spraying on my roots first and then going down to the rest of the hair. And as you can see, this twist kind of unraveled. So whatever unravels, it's fine. All I do is just twist it back in the exact same sections that it is, because whenever I use rice water, I do co-wash, I don't use shampoo. So it's easy for the twist to stay in place as I co-wash, rinse it out, and then move forward. So this is what I was doing with every single section. I just focused on showing you the back section because I don't want to waste too much of your time. I just wanted you to see exactly what I was doing. So my hair is completely dry in this state because I wanted my hair to completely saturate. If you're not new to this channel, then you know I only use rice water as a pre-poo. I have used it in many other ways before, like as an after rinse and all that kind of stuff. But I just find that it works the best for me when I do it as a pre-poo on dry hair because it absorbs perfectly into my hair and I can nicely moisturize my hair afterwards. This rice water, when I tell you, it felt so amazing and conditioning. It's got like more viscosity to it. It's a little bit thicker. As you can see, even when I'm spraying a lot, it's not excessively dripping down. Like if you've ever used onion juice before, onion water, whatever you want to call it, it drips like crazy. This just grips onto the hair so well. It makes your hair feel so soft. If you've ever fermented rice water for 24 hours or 48 hours, it might feel like quite good, but it does have a little bit of like an instant drying feeling because of the starch. With this super fermented rice water, it just breaks everything down so well. It just feels so amazing in the hair. So as you can see, I'm going section by section all across the scalp and then taking it all through ends of my hair. So now that I was done, I went ahead and took my satin scrunchie and I just loosely tied that, and I'm putting this plastic bag over my head. I do have low porosity hair, so whenever I want something to really absorb into my hair, I go under heat. So all my plastic caps are finished, so I just got this plastic bag. I went under heat for 20 minutes and then I came back, and it's time to deep condition. Every time you use rice water, no matter how amazing and soft your hair feels, you still want to deep condition. And I'm using my favorite deep conditioner, the Shea Moisture Manuka Honey and Mafura Oil one. I am focusing it on the ends, especially because I didn't have much left. I just wanted to make sure I finish it. So I focused on my ends first, and then I took the rest down to my roots. And this is where I took the opportunity to loosely, or let me say roughly, comb through my hair with a wide tooth comb. And as you can see, it is just easily combing out. My hair looks so nice and healthy. And that is the only shedding I got from that section. And here I was just putting every big section into one big twist here. Not a tight twist, not too twisted all the way to the bottom, just twisted enough to section it away so that it's easy when I'm washing. Then I went ahead and did the exact same thing I did with the rice water with this deep conditioner as well. Put a plastic bag on my head, went under heat for another 20 minutes, rinsed that out, and when I tell you, my hair felt so amazing. If you've never used fermented rice water, even just for 5 days longer than usual, you will see a major difference. Like, my hair looks so good, so nice and thick. My comb was just gliding through my hair, and this is the condition I love to see my hair. There's a quick little length check for you. So I went ahead and cornrowed my hair, and these are the cornrows that are underneath this wig I've been wearing in this video. And I just wanted to show you the little ending of my cornrow there. As I always say, I don't braid it down to the little bit, I just coil it around my finger, and that's the braid done. Okay, so as you saw, that's how I applied it. As soon as I finished my braids, I've actually been wearing my braids out for about a week, and this is the first time I've actually put a wig on top because I don't even wear wigs that much. And I will have a video coming soon about like a whole like 3 to 4 month little challenge where we can grow our hair and use protective styles and use rice water. So if you want to see how I'll be using this rice water moving forward, make sure you hit the subscription button right down there, and I will be showing you how I'll be using it. So I will make another batch of rice water and I'll continue to be using it the same way I use this one, and you see how I use it in my protective styles and all that. So you can hit my face right there if you didn't subscribe in the beginning, and hit the bell down there. Hit the bell down there so you make sure you get the notifications when I post more rice videos and just other videos about growing your natural hair. I do have a second channel here if you want to check that out as well. You can subscribe there. And here on the playlist you can check out a whole bunch of my other rice water videos and something just specially for you right here. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.